At Enbridge, we monitor our pipelines around the clock, using trained operators and computer monitoring systems. Because for us, safety isn't just a job. It's a 24/7 commitment.
Please welcome the former governor of the state of Michigan and former U.S. ambassador to Canada, James Blanchard.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Jasmine, thank you for your leadership and sponsorship. Sandy, thank you for inviting me to share my very strong views about why Canada is our best friend and ally in this country. I'm joined by, yes, you can. I'm joined by Janet, who's been part of this journey with Canada. How many of you are following March Madness still? All right. I know, unfortunately, we won't have Michigan State or Michigan, but they had good runs. What's interesting is, as you may know, it was a Canadian, James Naismith, who invented the game of basketball. Right, he did it in Springfield, Massachusetts, but he was really from Ontario. So the Canadians like to brag about that. Colin Bird is here, the Consul General. He will confirm. It's just one of many thousands of connections we've had with Canada for decades and decades, really for 200 years, going on more. But you know, I was interested the other day. I thought if I had gone to sleep on New Year's Eve and woke up yesterday, Sandy, and somebody told me that Canada had been labeled our enemy, that Russia is our friend, that Ukraine invaded Russia, and that we're going to annex Greenland, I would have said, April Fools. Only it's not a fool. Canada has been our best friend and ally and partner for 2 centuries. Most Americans know that. As a matter of fact, probably 90% of Americans believe Canada is our best friend and ally and partner. And I'm here to, you can clap. I'm really here to underscore that. How many of you have friends and relatives in Canada? Look at that. One thing I want you to do when we finish this program today or tomorrow is call them up. Tell them how much we value your friendship. You'll be surprised how important that will be to them, how helpful that will be, and how relieved they will be that people like you and me understand the relationship and appreciate it. It's really, really important. You know, over the last 50 years, I had the opportunity to be a United States Congressman from Oakland and Macomb County, Governor of Michigan, Ambassador to Canada. These are fabulous opportunities and challenges in public service. We enjoyed it all. But I will tell you, all those 50 years I worked closely with Canada, with prime ministers, with members of parliament, with premiers of the different provinces. And being ambassador to Canada is a fascinating blend of politics, diplomacy, business, government. It's really a great combination. It was a good use of my background as a member of Congress and governor. And let's just talk about a few facts about Canada. We were allies in World War I and World War II, allies in Korea and Afghanistan. We were founders with Canada of the United Nations, NATO, and partners in NORAD. We've had an integrated economy on autos, energy, agriculture, national security for years and years and years. We have cooperated on everything from Great Lakes water quality to the space station. I recall, as governor, we had regular meetings with the Canadian premiers, and they continue to work. Ontario and Quebec are often part of our Great Lakes Governors Association. Massachusetts deals, and New England deals with the Atlantic Canada. And the West Coast, it's Oregon and California dealing with British Columbia. It's a close, close relationship, and there's no good reason for our government at any level to label Canada as a national security threat or a trade partner villain, or to suggest that Canada become the 51st state. That is a supreme insult. So all the discussion of tariffs is one thing, but the constant insults coming from the White House and advisors who I think ill-advised our president is really a bunch of nonsense. And tragically, and this is the fact that you need to understand, which is why I want you to call your friends, relatives, and neighbors in Canada. Today, relations with Canada are the worst we've had in modern history. And this is all created in Washington, D.C., not in Detroit, no, not in San Francisco, not in Nashville, not in Tampa, in Washington, D.C. You know the connections here. We're kind of the cradle of cooperation. Detroit, Windsor, Michigan, Ontario. We're the cradle of cooperation. The White House has indicated, I want to look carefully here, that migration and fentanyl are the basis for tariffs and their accusations. But there's no truth to it. It's not even relevant. There are more migrants going north, in fact, probably more now than ever, than coming south. That fentanyl from Canada is less than 1%. I mean, it's crazy to suggest this. And it's crazy for people in power, including the Vice President, to say, we've been treated very badly by the Canadians. I have no idea what he's talking about. By the way, we sell more products to Canada than any other country in the world. The United States has a manufacturing surplus with Canada. Let me read. We have a manufacturing surplus, trade surplus with Canada. We have an auto trade surplus with Canada. We have a merchandise trade surplus with Canada. We have a services trade surplus with Canada. We do have an energy deficit in oil, gas, and hydro, and we want that. Michigan uses that. We need that. On any given day, natural gas, which heats the homes and businesses in this town, it's probably natural gas from Canada, either shipped directly or back from Ontario. By the way, on energy, the United States has been self-sufficient on energy since President Obama's first term. So we're doing record drilling now. So don't believe anyone that we have an energy crisis in the United States. By the way, 8 million jobs depend on trade with Canada. 36 states have Canada as their largest export market. Oh, and by the way, Canada has a huge amount of rare earth minerals. We've even had conferences on that in Washington, D.C. So why are we talking about extorting rare earth minerals from Ukraine or trying to gobble them up from Greenland? We already know we have a supply with our best friend and neighbor to the north. Now let me just get to tariffs. I'm going to check the time here because I'm supposed to talk for no more than 10 minutes. I'm looking at a clock, but I don't see one. Oh, you're in trouble. I don't see one. Tariffs, look, it's like a sales tax. It's going to raise the cost of living here. It's starting probably with, not just with auto cars, but with food, gasoline. I mean, 25% tariffs on everything with Canada would raise prices of cars, sure. We already have steel tariffs. As I recall, it's a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. The last time that happened, General Motors had spent $1 billion more on those metals. Ford Motors, $750,000 more. Talk about raising prices. I mean, car prices are going to go up. Sales are going to go down. Layoffs and job losses are a near certainty. And the price of cars could go maybe up to $10,000. I don't really know. We're going to have a discussion on that. I don't really know that. We don't know for sure. I do know that Jim Farley, the distinguished, talented CEO of Ford Motors, said these tariffs will blow a hole in our economy, the likes of which we haven't seen or never seen. So it's a situation where many economists are predicting a recession. I hate to do that. I don't want to stand here and make news by saying that because I'm not an economist and I'm not an astrologist. All I know is Liberation Day could become Inflation Day if we don't watch it. And that's serious. It's serious on our people, our consumers, our economy, our businesses, and it's totally unnecessary. By the way, when the U.S. auto industry ran into trouble in 2008 and 2009, the financial crisis, triggered initially by banking, but other things, the Obama-Biden administration came to the rescue of General Motors and Chrysler, and it worked. What you don't know is the Canadian federal government and the Ontario government also pitched in with several $1 billion of support. People forget that here. By the way, that's not surprising. When 9/11 happened, my friend, our ambassador to NATO, got a call. The first call, Nick Burns is his name. He just finished as ambassador to China. He was at NATO at the time. After 9/11, the very first call he received at NATO was from the Canadian ambassador saying, "What can we do to help?" So it's not surprising. As I speak, there are about 1,000 Americans in Colorado Springs inside a mountain monitoring the skies all over the world as part of NORAD. Oh, and by the way, there are 350 Canadians there as well, working side by side to protect the security of our country and the free world. Now this fall, good news here, we're going to dedicate the new Gordie Howe International Bridge. By the way, it was the Canadians who came up with the name. It's the most important infrastructure project in North America. It's going to be a beautiful 6-lane bridge with plenty of room for cars and bicycles and people, and we continue our exchange back and forth with our friends. It's a time then in the fall where we can once again celebrate this marvelous partnership and friendship with Canada, a partnership that works, a partnership that we value, a partnership that means so much to all of us in Michigan, in Detroit, and around the United States. And so let's celebrate that as we move forward, and let's make sure no one distorts the truth about how fabulous this relationship is. Thank you.